birth injury is just what it sounds like. It's when the baby is injured during the birthing process. Sometimes that's during the prenatal process before the labor and delivery. Sometimes it's during the labor and delivery itself, and sometimes it's after the labor and delivery has already taken place. The most common type of injury we see in a birth injury case is where the baby suffers brain damage as a result of a lack of sufficient oxygen to their brain during the delivery process. And when that happens, the baby is often diagnosed with a condition called cerebral palsy. It's a very serious condition that will affect the baby for the rest of their life. Fortunately, as medicine has improved, birth injuries are not all that common, but they're more common than they should be if doctors were providing safe and reasonable medical care throughout the birth and delivery process. There's a big difference between a birth injury and a birth defect. A birth defect we think of as something that's genetic, that is just a normal part of a child's development that nobody can control. A birth injury, as the term is used by us, means something that was avoidable, something that could have been prevented with reasonable and safe medical care during the labor and delivery process. To decide whether there's a case or not, you have to understand what caused the birth injury. Was the birth injury caused by something that the doctor did or failed to do during the birth and delivery process? Or was the birth injury caused by something that nobody could control? And sorting out whether a birth injury can lead to a lawsuit or whether it can't is a big part of what we do. We've handled birth injury cases involving many different types of birth injury, whether it's happened as a result of the labor delivery process, whether it's a result of something that happened after birth and delivery where the baby wasn't cared for properly. We have experience with neonatal death cases involving little babies who die in the hospital shortly after birth. We have experience with maternal death cases where injury to the mom occurs or results in death as a result of the birth and delivery process. So we have extensive experience with birth injury and associated types of cases. Birth injury cases can result in some of the highest recoverable damages of any type of medical malpractice case because the little baby that's injured is going to have to live with that injury for the rest of his or her life. And when a child has a life expectancy of 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, the cost associated with providing for that baby for the rest of his or her life can be very significant. At Gideon Asen, we're different from other firms when it comes to handling birth injury cases because we have experience handling these cases at the very highest levels. We also have access to the best experts in America, the doctors who have literally written the guidelines and the standards that other doctors are expected to follow when it comes to handling the birth and delivery process. So if we agree to take your case, you won't only get great lawyers handling your case, you're going to get world-class experts who are going to support your case. The intake process during a birth injury case involves talking about ways in which there was an abnormality during the prenatal, labor and delivery, or postpartum part of the delivery process. So we're going to want to learn from you what happened. Were there ultrasounds taken? Did they show any abnormalities? Were there any genetic defects determined? Was there anything unusual about the labor and delivery process? And then after delivery, what were the APGAR scores, which are scores to judge the baby's health upon delivery? So we're going to want to get all of that information from you, and then we're going to want to get all of the records, medical records, not just for baby, but also for mom.